Right, my fact, I'm going to take this because we've so far been dealing with quite big engineering stuff. And engineering's not just that; it's like all the finicky little stuff as well. So I wanna the inventor of the Fender Stratocaster, perhaps revered as one of the greatest guitars of all time. He couldn't play the guitar. That's my fact.
Gee, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast a few months ago on that. Do you know that instrument that it sounds like a ghost noise, and it's been used in ghost movies ever since?
But like the penny whistle.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, but it makes that weird, and it's used in famously in Good Vibrations,
Okay.
and in all sort of ghost stories, and that's got nothing to do with this fact whatsoever, except that it was.
Yeah, I once watched a podcast about a musical instrument. Have you heard of the bagpipes?
So the oak who made that fancy guitar
Yeah,
couldn't
the
play
Fender
the
Stratocaster. Yeah.
Couldn't play the guitar. It's a simple yes or no, isn't it, Ryan? No need to think about it too deeply. I don't really know, and I'm trying to figure out: is it possible for someone to create an instrument when they can't play it? Sounds like. But then this is what's the fact.
Yeah, I want to mislead you.
I'll say, okay, I have no idea why, but I think it's true, and I'm probably wrong because is it possible for someone to invent an instrument that they can't play? But for some weird reason, I'll say, yes, you're right, it's true.
I mean, it is true. It is
really?
True. Yeah. Leo Fender was his name. He grew up. He played a little bit piano, a little bit of saxophone, but what he was actually interested in was radio technology and electronics.
Oh.
And so he studied radio technology and electronics, and this eventually led to him working as a repairman for amplifiers.
Oh.
And so he worked as an amplifier repairman for so long. He eventually thought to himself, I can develop my own amplifier. Developed his own amplifier. It was superior. It started selling quite nicely. And then he made friends with a quite popular guitarist at the time, and he sort of said, well, I think I can make a new sort of interesting kind of guitar. And he teamed up with this guy, and they started producing these guitars. And interestingly, the reason the Fender Stratocaster is really as famous as it is because it sounded different to all the other guitars, right? So it's got 3 pickups, where most of them had 2. It's got sort of wire coiled magnets in the pickups, and these send really strong vibrations through to the amplifiers. And at the time, he was trying to persuade country music stars to use these guitars. It was quite a new sort of original sound, but they weren't really interested. It didn't really sound like what they wanted. But he'd happened to invent it just at the kind of cusp of the creation of rock and roll music.
Sure.
So as rock and roll music kind of starts taking off, people are like, this is the instrument that we want. To start playing this kind of music on, and it sounds perfect for that. And so like now, basically, if you draw an electric guitar, you're probably drawing a Fender Stratocaster.
Oh wow!
But yeah, so it's one of these like the other thing he added was that metal lever on the end of the guitar that you could then use to change the pitch of the music. So so then you could change the way that you're playing it. And initially, what he developed was like a lap guitar, and then the Fender Stratocaster was the new thing. But now, I mean, it literally reached a point where like they reckon there's hundreds of millions of these have been sold. The company themselves, they don't know how many they've actually made. They've just sold so staggeringly many of them. But it hit the stores in, I think it was spring of 1954. And they didn't sell a single one for 3 months. Yeah. First one sold in the summer of 1954. So as you can see, 1954 is basically the beginning of...
Yes.
Rock music really kind of starts taking off properly.
It needed a few influences like Elvis Presley or so. But even I don't know if he was...
Yeah, but he used to hire musicians to play the guitars that he thought would sound new and unique and new and interesting. Yeah. He'd have to I've made this thing. Let me see what it sounds like. And he'd go out and hire a guitarist.
The famous turning point of folk music was old Bob Dylan was it Glastonbury? Is that a festival?
It is a festival.
Was that the one where he was booed for playing because he picked up a rock electrical guitar, and then the folk fans were like, boo.
No, they were right to boo him.
He never turned back, man. and I think he played like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, look, I mean,
think.
Bob Dylan's like my Seinfeld moment.
You don't
Like,
know,
I really
don't,
don't
you
not a
don't
big
get
fan
Bob.
of Seinfeld. I don't get Bob.
I get
I don't
him.
get Bob.
He's
I feel
beautiful.
like
I told you to
I think
watch
it's
that
just his
thing on
voice
Netflix.
irritates me.
Sure it does. There's
Sure does.
um,
You're not interested in having this
you
debate.
got to think past the voice. No, there's the Rolling Thunder review on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's he goes on tour when he's already famous, but he goes plays small places and not his big songs. He just wants to change people's consciousness, man. That's what it's about, man. Come on.
Yeah, that arrogance is also part of the reason I don't like him. What a wanker.
And do you know who went on the tour with him? She was a young girl.
Of course, young girls went on the tour with him. It's creepy.
She just went for the ride because he said, "Man, you should come along." I said, "Oh, okay." It was Sharon Stone.
And how old was she?
I think she's about 18.
No, I bet she was younger than that.
Do you think?
Yeah, I bet you she was. Creeper. No, I don't know. Just never gotten him. And I've got friends who also like. They think he's great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad to hear he's a bit of a Roman Polanski. It gives me another reason to.
I like Bob.
But
before we go
Bob,
talking about
honestly,
music.
like people above the age of 21, Bob. I mean, he's now 70, right? Isn't he?
Yeah, but he's still touring.
So
he's
half
still
his age
singing,
plus
man.
7, so 42 and plus.
Yeah.
Bob.
Do you know what's remarkable about? Fine, we'll talk music. Fine, you twisted my arm. But the what's that song? Man, I just heard it the other day. It's got they formed a little band in the late 80s. George Harrison,
Oh yeah.
Bob Dylan, the Traveling Wilburys, yes.
Yeah.
And that little song of theirs, there's one big hit that they made about the end of the line.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
actually what it's called.
And it's all right.
Yeah.
Driving around in the city, well, it's all. It's like I never
Tom
appreciated
Tom
it.
Petty's in there.
I never appreciated it when I was, 9 years old. But man, it's a beautiful song, and all the voices on that. Yes, Tom Petty's there, George Harrison, Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, and even the other dude is from ELO, Electric Light Orchestra or something, which is also a wonderful band. They all just got together to make some music, man.
The
Just
Traveling
like, hey.
Wilburys are wonderful because they sort of tone Bob Dylan. It's not focused Bob Dylan.
Mm-mm.
You know, like if you eat, say, just pure. Just like if you just eat chili, like you just eat a habanero,
Yes,
it's a
yes.
hectic experience, right?
Yeah.
You take a little bit of habanero and you chop it into mince, some
Better.
black beans, whatever. It's a delicious meal.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's what the
Bob
traveling
Bob
Wilburys
Dylan
are.
is like a pedophilic habanero. Oh, I'm gonna get hate
He'd
for
probably
that
go,
one.
"Oh, thank you, man. That sounds good."
Definitely getting hate for that one.